on to video number 2, and I'm going to be talking about deep compensation. So deep compensation, as I talked about in previous videos, enables mentalising, and it provides an alternative route to social cognition. In deep compensation, the person's brain has formed an alternative pathway to getting to the same understanding as a non-autistic, but via an alternative route. So it's more effortful, it takes more time, and it's not always as accurate, but it's a lot more effective and more flexible than shallow compensation. So some of the strategies involved in deep compensation include, number 1, learned non-verbal cues. So this is where an autistic might actually infer what others are thinking. So for example, if a person looks on the ground, they are bored. Often the autistic will be using quite complicated algorithms in their head to work this out. I haven't done that. I really struggle with non-verbal cues. If someone, although I can understand reading it in a book, if someone looks at the ground, that's a sign that they're bored because, I've read about it, I've intellectually discovered that. In real-time social situations, if someone were to be looking at the ground as I'm talking, I'm not likely to pick it up. And if I do notice it, it will be a very fleeting awareness. Like I remember one time I was with someone and they kept on checking their watch, and I'd read somewhere that if someone checks their watch, it can mean that they're bored. And a fleeting thought passed my mind, and I was thinking, are they bored with me? But I couldn't stop talking. I didn't know. It was really hard to kind of piece it together. So in a real-time social situation, even if there's a kind of fleeting awareness that maybe the person is bored, I still can't stop myself. I still can't use that information to really I can't use that information. It's almost like my brain will just override it. It's not salient, it's not like important, and I'll just carry on doing what I'm doing, like on this kind of, it was almost like I've got tunnel vision, but most of the time I don't pick it up anyway. Learned verbal cues, so this would be things such as like putting together someone's tone of voice and the content of their speech to work out how they might be feeling. So if they're talking about a funeral with a particular tone, they're sad. I'm a bit more able to do that when with the non-verbal stuff. I particularly struggle with non-verbal stuff, but even with the verbal stuff, unless it's really, really obvious, it would have to be like really obvious. But if someone, like I can give an example, when I was at Age UK, the manager's mother had died, and she was talking about it, and obviously it was pretty obvious she was sad because she was crying while talking about it. But I didn't know what to do with that information. It was really awkward because I just do not know. I find it really hard to get into the other person's shoes and to really understand what they're feeling and what to do with that information. Although I might be, oh yeah, obviously she's sad. I don't really understand what sad is. Like, what is sad? It's a very abstract thing. So on an intellectual level, I think sad, but I don't know what to do with that information because to me, it doesn't really mean anything because I'm not feeling sad. I don't know what to do with that information. I don't even really know what it is to feel sad. Like, what is it? So I just don't know. So that's really difficult. When someone's in an emotional situation, even if I can intellectually intellectually work out what they're feeling, that doesn't really help me because I don't know what to do with that information at all. The number 3 might be to assess behaviour. That would be to infer what someone is thinking. So for example, if you're re-invited to a social event, you might then infer that they think positively of you. I don't think I really do that. No, I'm not good at assessing someone's behaviour at all, really. Let me know if you can do that. I don't really know what people are thinking about because it's a problem. I'm really bad at working out what's going on in someone else's head. I think it's a whole problem. I really struggle with it. So, but yeah, some people can do that, apparently. Some autistics can do that, but I can't. Number 4 would be logic, and that would be to predict the likelihood of what someone is thinking based on logic or experience of how the person has previously behaved. So analysing social situations after they have happened and carrying lessons learned to next time. To me, each time is a new scenario. I'm not great at doing that, no, but again, that might be one example of deep compensation. Number 5 would be more time. So this would be taking a break to consider interpretations. Yeah, I can relate to that. If I have the time to think about it, I can eventually think, okay, maybe I've overreacted, for example, but I need to have the time to do that. Again, it will suddenly click on me and I'll be like, why did I behave like that? Like, now it seems so stupid. Why did I overreact? So yeah, so more time. I think also because I've got a slow processing speed. So if I am given the time, so I can relate to that one. I can do that a bit. So also getting more information, so getting them to rephrase. So yeah, I can relate to that. It gives you a bit more time to kind of work things out. Number 6 would be a self-awareness of your own biases, so a tendency to perceive neutral expressions as anger. I don't really know about that, but let me know what you think. Number 7 would be psychological theories. That would be a learn, so you would categorise people by personality to infer their thoughts. I'm not sure about that one. And so those are examples of deep conversation. So having gone through that list, I'm not good at that. Some of them I could do to a very small extent, but not enough to really help me. So I really am mainly a shallow compensator, I would say. Another way that an autistic person might try and help themselves in a social situation is through a strategy known as accommodation. So this can involve things such as playing to your strengths. For example, utilising their intelligence, which can then make them which can then add a value to a conversation. You might seek out typical others who are atypical others, who are a bit more accepting maybe. Maybe going along to an autism group potentially or something like that. Accommodating employment, say if your employment is autism friendly, it might be in academia, so it might not be at social. These are all ways that you can get around your social difficulties via accommodation. So shallow compensation, then to recap, is to disguise but not overcome your social cognitive difficulties, and that's what I do for the most part, is shallow compensation. Deep compensation involves a detailed, focused analysis of the social information so that the person can actually crack what's going on in someone else's head and solve the theory of mind problem. I'm not really very good at that. I have tried and attempted it, but it doesn't really get me very far at all, so I am mainly at that shallow level. Compensation enables the person to pass as neurotypical. Deep compensation provides a secondary route for social interaction, but it's still cognitively taxing and intellectual. And there is an upper limit. It's slow and fast-moving interaction, and it's not full context, so you might need more time to reflect. The gap between appearance and reality is greater or lesser depending on the compensation used. So with shallow compensation, the person will display more obviously autistic behaviours, maybe going to say deeper compensation because it's a bit more superficial and it breaks down more easily. And so non-autistics can potentially see through the strategies. I'm not sure, because I haven't asked non-autistics if they can see through my strategies, I'm not sure about that, but I do know that, thinking back to when I was at Age UK, the strategies do break down when I'm under stress along by there, like that example I gave of not being able to shut up when I needed to attend to a customer because I'm on a one-way track. When another time when I was talking about something a little bit gross and inappropriate while the manager was eating her food, and she said, "Anna, I'm having my lunch now, you do realise?" And I'm like, oops, and something like occurs to me, okay. But so there are times when, particularly when I'm stressed or, I've been trying to mask for long periods of time, these strategies can break down and then I can feel like really awkward. Deep compensation results in actual improvements in social cognition. The deep compensator will be using maybe pattern detection. So, for example, gesture plus face plus context equals mental state. So they'll be using a different way of solving a problem than, say, non-autistics. They were using complex mental algorithms in their head to work out what someone's thinking or feeling. It's not instinctive, but the fact is they can do it just via an alternative route, so it's a more successful form of compensation, maybe against, say, shallow compensation. And there is the suggestion that this could, in some autistics, become second nature over time. I guess they would be the most successful autistics who've compensated to the most extent. But that's just a question mark there, because they would have to do more research into that. Whereas with masking, which is the most basic, no new social behaviours are generated. It's simply decreasing, for example, decreasing behaviours. So, for example, the person might try not to talk as much, or increasing behaviours, for example, smiling more. So it regulates existing behaviours, and it's very automatic and very simple. It's less effective in supporting interaction, and it's more about blending in. And the other thing is, as I mentioned in my previous video, is that non-autistics also mask, so it's less autism specific, whereas compensation is more autism specific. Okay, so I'm going to stop now, and yeah, stop now really. So happy Autism Awareness Day. I'm not doing a specific video on autism awareness because I think most of my videos are, well, all of my videos, most of my videos are in fact about autism awareness and acceptance anyway. So I don't feel I need to do one specifically because it's Autism Awareness Day. But obviously I wanted to draw attention that it is Autism Awareness Day, and there's lots of stuff that's being produced on the internet as it's Autism Awareness Day and it's Autism Awareness Week. So they're all interesting. So do go and check those out. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, it should be Autism Awareness Day and Autism Acceptance Day every year. But it is Autism Awareness. But it's good. It's nice that we do have a day set aside for us as well. But anyway, so thank you for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you again next week.